my name is Karen, and I'm here to share with you my personal experience in participating in B.U.S.Y's 21-day detox challenge. I joined the January 4th challenge because at the end of 2014, I realized, both through my clothing and also looking at my calendar, that I had not only gained back the weight that I lost earlier in the year, but I'd even put on 3 more pounds. Ironically, I was at a Christmas party. A friend of mine shared with me about the 21-day detox program, and I immediately was like, please send me the information. I want to sign up. And I did so, and some of the things I'd like to share with you about the program that I felt like were really helpful in me being able to achieve my goals, which originally were all around weight loss, was that number one, the foods that Tanya shared with us that we would be eating were definitely foods that you should find in your kitchen, in your refrigerator, and they were items that you would eat for the remainder of your life. Also, something that was very helpful was I had 4 other friends join me with this, so we were accountable to ourselves, but also to each other. And then Tanya also sets up a private social group site where the entire group who's participating in this has the ability to be there for one another, share stories, share recipes, talk about their challenges. So it was really, really helpful in keeping, and really encouraging you to keep going on through the tough times. Also, I found with this particular program or diet recommendations, they were items that I could still go to a restaurant and not feel like I sacrificed. I was able to pick things that I wanted to eat, and that was very important for me because of work. I do commonly take customers out to lunch or out to dinner, and all of that was really, really, worked well, at least within my life. I will say it didn't come without some challenges. People have asked me, how have you done this? I said, I definitely had to give up things. So I had to give up milk, I gave up cheese, I gave up bread, and the typical carbs. I also gave up alcohol, and that was asked for 21 days to give that up. And I would say that was difficult because I'd gotten into a habit of drinking on a nightly basis. And so right at first I was like, wow, what am I going to do tonight? But luckily, very quickly, I did find more productive things to do with my evening. And I can say now, 90 days later, I haven't picked that habit back up. It's not to say I don't drink. I will on weekends, but I definitely have a much better perspective on that. When I started the program, I didn't point this out, but Tanya really focused it a lot about your weight, that it's not about just weight loss, it's really about becoming a healthier you. And that healthier you part really wasn't why I was there, and I was a bit skeptical about that because I truly wanted weight loss. And I have achieved that. I've lost 20 pounds, I have 7 more pounds is my goal, and then we'll reassess from there. But I'd like to share with you that healthier aspect because though I do feel I'm healthy, but my familial history is not as good as one may like. To share with you a bit, my father had his first heart attack at 39. He had a second one at 50, triple bypass at 50, a transplant at 55. My brother had a heart attack at 46. I have a grandfather who passed away of a brain aneurysm. And I myself have been on cholesterol medicine for the past 25 years. As you would imagine, that is an important aspect of my health. Also, a year ago, my dentist kind of diagnosed me with potentially having sleep apnea. And I was tested, and it was positive, and I ended up, instead of having a CPAP, I actually wear a dental appliance in the evening, and that really helps with my oxygen airflow. And I mention that now because through this, my dentist frequently will send home with me a pulse oximeter, and I wear that through the night so that he can monitor my oxygen levels throughout the night to ensure that this dental device is doing what it should to ensure that I have a restful night. And also he monitors how many positive awakenings that I may have throughout the night, which indicates how good the rest is, and my heartbeat. And on January the 5th, which would have been before I started the class, I took it home, and the results of the test the next day were pretty common to what I've had, which really meant that through the night, I'm going to have a time or two where my oxygen is going to get below 90. And when that happens, you're going to see my heartbeat increase, and typically there's going to be an arousal, and I'm going to be awakened from that. And I mention this because after being on this program, and I hate using the word diet because I'm trying today to think of it as my new lifestyle change, but for the purposes right now, we'll call it the diet. I had to wear the pulse oximeter again. He sent it back home with me. And this time, when I went in that morning and he downloaded the data, I walked into the room and he looked at it and he was like, wow, this is great. He said, it was amazing. He said, your oxygen levels have stayed above 94 throughout the night. And so that basically means the areas they monitor, I stayed in the green. And that was, I was really pleased. And I looked at him and he's thinking it's the appliance and so forth. And I said, well, let me tell you some other changes I've made. And I really was beginning to think this has something to do with it. So a couple more weeks into it, and I'd lost 16 pounds at this time. I thought, I'm going to call my primary and I'm going to ask to have my cholesterol levels rechecked. And I went in and had those rechecked, and I truthfully will say that was my wow moment. That was my moment when I really said, wow, this has made me a healthier me. And what I can share with you was in December, my total cholesterol was 218. And by the end of January, it dropped to 125. My LDL went from 113 down to 45. My triglycerides went from 70 to 40. And then the HDL, they call it good, only slightly moved from like 80 to 70. And that's when I really can say I got motivated, even more motivated to continue with this program. So even though Tanya had set up a 21-day challenge, I continued until it was about the 13th of February and stayed strictly on it. After that, I'll say I've started bringing back in coffee and a couple of items like that, but I'm still trying to stay away from bread. But overall, I would say this particular program has provided me with the greatest results of any diet that I have attempted over the last 5, 6, 7 years. And I couldn't be happier that I've been a part of this and looking forward to taking the next 7 pounds off.